Cease, I thank you very much because you didn't forget me. You said you wouldn't, but then a couple of years later, you published a book called I Believe in Healing. I'm going to use the healing one first. And your assistant, Twyla Belk, helped you also in this book. But you've let a lot of us that had stories that you put in the book, and it makes us a contributing author with your book. That's how generous a heart this man has. And he loves to help writers. He loves to help people. And our story is in there. When we pastored at Good Shepherd, there was a little baby that had a growth on his face, covered its eye, caused it not to see. And Jim had laid his hands on the little baby and prayed for him. And 2 days later, the mother went in to get the baby out of the crib, and all of that was gone. And he's in his 30s today, been in the military and everything, and he doesn't have any of that on him. He was healed. There's a whole story, stories and testimonies. And then Cease, in his wisdom and knowledge, he has all of the questions that you'd like to ask. People ask all the time about healing, if it really has gone out with the disciples, if it's still here, or what. And so that could be a resource book for you too about healing. And the second one, I Believe in Heaven. And he included a story of mine that when I was 16, had a vision of heaven. And he included that story in there. And I'm grateful. I never knew what to do with what I had experienced and seen. But God knew. God had a timing that he used that. And he had a man who knew how to put it into a work that he was creating, I'm sure by divine unction, because it's got a lot of stories, but it's got in the back, there's a lot of questions that we all wonder about heaven. Do babies who die go to heaven? You ever hear people ask those questions? Will we recognize others in heaven? There's a lot of questions in here. And he has researched God's Word, and you have a whole gamut of answers to questions that you've always wanted to know about heaven. This is a book about heaven, and you'll want it in your library. By the way, Cease, I got your Christmas letter about your retiring. And I'm a little bit sad because I hope to see you around. I kind of had an event I wanted to have you come to. Maybe we'll talk another time. But there were a couple things in there that you were talking about that I'd like to implement. Jim has planted a church, another church here in Winsboro, Kentucky. And I shared this with him because I think we need to share it with the people. We'd like to have some more people do this. You said one of the best things my retirement has done for me is to enable me to spend more time volunteering at our church. And so I started a ministry of taking communion to shut-ins. That's Cecil Murphy, that's Cease. He just has a heart for people. And I think that's a wonderful thing for churches to implement. And so we may copy that one, okay? And then usually, I look for little things to do. For example, once a month, one of the elders in our church buys bread, peanut butter, and grape jelly. About a dozen of us make sandwiches for the homeless. That's Cecil Murphy. And Cease, I just realized that you had a birthday, the 28th. Happy birthday, Cease. You are loved beyond measure. Thank you so much for touching my life. Thanks, Cease. I appreciate it very much.